Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through my podcast and signature programs, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. Welcome to episode 184 of the Irresistible You podcast. Today, we are talking about the gap that exists between wanting to achieve your weight loss goals and going another month, 2 months, or a year even without any progress. Can you relate to that? So you tell yourself that you want to lose this weight more than anything else in the world. It's like the number one thing that you want to accomplish. And you tell yourself, I need to lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 20 pounds. And you set a goal for the month. And then another month goes by. It's almost like you blink, the month is over, the month goes by, and you're going, wait a second. I never achieved that goal that I set for myself. What's wrong with me? And the thing is that you felt busy during the month, but you didn't feel productive. You felt stressed, you felt overwhelmed, you felt overextended, you felt tired, but you didn't feel accomplished. You didn't feel that sense of momentum when you know you're putting in the work to see the results show up. So where is that disconnect between saying, I really, really want this, I've wanted this for so long, I want this more than anything in the whole world, and then the time span that goes by where nothing is happening? And have you experienced it to where it really does feel like all of a sudden you're caught in this whirlwind and it's been a week, it's been a month, it's been a year, maybe it's been years, right? So we are going to dive into that and we're going to explore what is really happening and how can you put a bridge between the goals that you want for yourself and actually setting out and doing them. What I'm going to say first about this, you're probably thinking too broadly about your goals. And what most people do is they get so focused on the end result that it actually causes you to not focus on the things that have to happen in the day-to-day practice, your day-to-day life. What I mean by that is somebody will say, I need to lose 100 pounds. That is a huge goal. It is a massive mountain to climb. And you set this goal and you just focus on the weight loss. I got to get the weight off. I got to lose 100 pounds. And you're not thinking about real life. You're not being realistic in the sense that you have a life to live. Your life is going to get in the way. Weight loss is not like this line that just gradually, I should go down, this line that gradually goes down. It's kind of like all over the place because that is how your life is. So you have to, the number one thing, if you don't get anything out of this podcast today, is to stop focusing on the end result. Stop focusing so much on the outcome. And instead, you have to focus on the process. Because it is in the process, it is in the nitty-gritty, it is in the day-to-day, it is in the chaos of life where the magic actually happens. You don't lose weight in a bubble. You don't lose weight in a silo. You don't tell yourself, and so many of you have that, like we call it the fat girl entitlement, where if you just say, well, I need to lose 100 pounds, I need to lose 50 pounds, and you just expect it to happen, but yet you're not putting focus where it needs to be. And so then we can get hung up on ourselves. We start what? Beating ourselves up, talking shit to ourselves. The inner fat bitch comes out to play, talking about, I told you, you can't do it. I told you. But when you really sit down and have a conversation with yourself, what did you actually do this week, this month to work towards that goal? So number one, stop focusing on the outcome, and we're going to start focusing on the process. And that's really what the theme of this episode is going to be about, is it's going to be about working on that process with yourself, okay? the old way of doing things. It really is the old ways. You're setting that big goal. And another thing that people do, maybe you're guilty of this, is you set too many goals. I'll watch YouTube and watch these girls talking about, by the time they're finished, they've named off like 10 to 15 goals. And I'm like, I appreciate, the drive, but are you really realistically going to be able to do that? You have too many. You've got to get more laser focused on to like 1 to 3 goals at a time. That's it. Because what happens, let's think about weight loss. You set a goal, like this is it. I'm finally going to do this. This is the last time. I'm going to lose the weight. You get super excited about everything because you have found some other, bullshit diet too to help you through it. So you're like, this is the last time I'm going to do this, blah, 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 blah. And then life gets in the way because that's what life does. So you start to lose focus. You start to beat yourself up. Again, cue the inner fat bitch, right? We have to also understand life will get in the way. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And the faster you can accept that you're going to have setbacks, that you're going to have this like squiggly line that goes all over the place, the faster it's going to be, the easier it's going to be for you to actually meet your goals. All right. So that's the first thing. Acknowledge that life is going to get in the way and build that into your plan. We can't build specifics. We don't know exactly what's going to happen in our life, right? That's the whole point of this. But we have to understand that we're going to have setbacks, right? So let me give you an example. So I was having this conversation last weekend with my husband, like, I have the best intentions. I tell myself I'm only going to do DoorDash twice this week. Then the week gets going, shit gets crazy, and next thing I know, I haven't met my goals. And I was like talking this out with him, trying to figure out what the problem is. So I go into the week, Monday comes around, and all of a sudden, my son decides that he's not going to sleep. He's 2.5, and he decides we're going to have like this massive sleep regression. Love it. And it's now 10 o'clock at night. He's still not asleep. I had not had dinner because my thought was, I'm going to get them to bed quickly. I'm going to get them down. Then I'm going to have some time. I want to have dinner to myself, just me, work on some things on my computer and, right? Sure. Like that's going to happen. So here it is. It's now 10 o'clock at night. He's not sleeping. And I'm like, F this. The last thing I want to do is go downstairs in the kitchen and cook something. Right? And it was also that day in the week where it was in between groceries. So it's not like there was anything amazing to go downstairs and make in the first place. And I'm like, this is why it happens. This is why it happens. And I decide, F it, just order something. And based on my financial goals and based on my weight loss goals, that is no longer working for me. And I'm not going to achieve either one of those goals if I continue to act like this. So I have to just acknowledge that life is going to get in the way sometimes. Every single day is not always going to look the same. So expect for that to happen. Have a backup plan is what I'm saying. What is a backup plan? And that's something I'm asking myself. You know that your kids sometimes aren't going to sleep through the night. Yes, they're 2 and 6. There's still going to be times where people don't get to bed on time or they're having a rough night. What is your plan when that happens to you? Because we can't continue to use our life circumstances as the excuse either, right? Because we get really comfortable putting the blame on other people, our circumstances. But when we take the time, when we're calm, when we're not in the shitstorm of what's happening, and we really think about, okay, what can I have in the house that is quickly and readily available for me to cook or heat up on those nights where the kids aren't sleeping, I'm tired, and I'm hangry? Something that I know I'm going to enjoy eating. Because if we call it, a bland-ass chicken breast with a vegetable, nobody's going to eat that at 10 o'clock at night. But what can we have readily available on hand, whether it's something in the freezer, which would probably be a really good idea, like a freezer type thing that we can pop in the air fryer, takes less than 10 minutes. We feel nourished, we feel comforted, and we can go about our business. And we're not blowing money at DoorDash, and we're not blowing calories with the DoorDash food, okay? You have to have those contingency plans. I think about business, right? What's your contingency plan? What's your life contingency plan? If you know you have certain days of the week where you're running, ripping and running with the kids and doing this and have appointments, you know damn well, girl, you're not going home to cook. So stop trying to tell yourself. See, that's the other thing. You set yourself up to fail because you're like, I'm never going to eat out again. Well, okay, we know that's not true. How are you going to set yourself up to win when you know you have these nights and these things that happen in your life? What do? You look at fast food menus and you say, okay, when I'm going to eat at, Wendy's, I'm going to order XYZ. And when you have these plans set up in advance, you don't find yourself in the moment of hanger, just going, F it, I'm going to order whatever I want. Ugh. Like you have a plan that you thought through when you were in a rational, logical state of mind. You were not in an overly emotionally charged mindset. Does it make sense? Again, the other thing, I think I already mentioned this, but you can't have too many goals. Like, I love an ambitious girl. We're all boss babes. We know we are, okay? But we do not need to have 500,000 goals to prove something. I would rather have 1 to 3 goals that I can absolutely nail, even just one goal that I can go out here and nail every single day versus trying to have multiple goals and I'm barely making the mark or I'm doing a mediocre job at all of them. Get one thing accomplished, get one thing under your belt, and then we move to the next. Now, here is the big piece. And every time I see goal setting, goal planning, workshops, blog posts, I just cringe a little bit because I feel like everything that's out there is always so effing vague and doesn't really speak to reality. Like, oh, let's set a goal. What is your time frame? What is your subtasks below the goal? It's like, yeah, that matters, sure. But what people aren't really talking about is that goal setting and goal planning in your little fancy notebook with your cute glitter pens, and y'all know I got glitter pens, okay? They're all over the damn office, and I love me a glitter pen with some crystals and shit all inside of it. But that is not going to help you achieve your goals. It might make you feel good in the moment. It might make you feel like you're actually accomplishing something, but you're not going to accomplish anything unless you're doing a check-in and you're doing something every single day to follow up with yourself. And I recognized for me, that was the gap. The gap was, okay, at the beginning of the month, we set these goals and the month gets going. We're ripping and running through everything. We're doing this, we're doing that. We've got these deadlines, these projects, these kid activities, this life happening, stuff that we didn't plan for. Next thing you know, it's the middle of the month and we're still in the same place we started from. Why? Because we got so sidetracked by life that we stopped checking in. And I know for me, and I know this probably applies for you too, you have to check in with yourself and make these goals a priority in your face every single day. Every single day. Once a month, your goal setting workshop, once a week, it's not enough. You need to set a daily date, check-in date with yourself. And when I tell you this will make the world a difference. This is what's going to get you to your goals. Because again, it's not about the end result, right? All this SMART goals bullshit is all about the end result. It's all about just focusing on, did you win or fail? And that is not what this is about. Matter of fact, having a goal The end result is not about failing or winning, because it's not about the end result. It's about the process. Because without the process, you will never achieve the goal. The goal doesn't happen in a vacuum where you're like, yep, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. And then somehow magically, because you set that goal, it just happens. Losing that 10 pounds happens in the little teeny tiny decisions that you make, however many times a day we're doing that. What are you going to have for breakfast? Are you going to get up and move? Are you going to drink the water? Are you going to turn down the cupcake? Are you going to have, trade this for that or whatever? It's in all of these little teeny tiny decisions where the magic happens. And so checking in with yourself once a week or once a month, it's not enough. You need to be checking in with yourself every single day. So what I have started doing and implementing and being more consistent with is my morning check-in routine. We call it morning magic. What is your morning magic routine? I even have a folder on my bookmarks tab where I have links to some of my Google Docs where I track my goals. I open my income spreadsheets. I open my business goals, my personal goals, and I do this whole entire routine. I even open up my Weight Watchers so I can do my meal planning. And that is a game changer. You have to check in every single day and reset. We're not changing the goals every single day, but we're having a reset where we're like, okay, my goal this month is to lose 10 pounds. So what am I going to do today to make that happen? And you review your goals. I even recommend writing your goals down again so that you're just constantly instilling this into your brain. Because if it is not top of mind, you won't accomplish them. And I ask myself, what do I need today to feel successful? Not to reach my goal. What do I need today to feel successful? What would that look like? Not what I need to lose 100 pounds. What do I need today? And what I do, I look at my calendar. I look at the meetings that are set up for today. Do I have any appointments outside of the home? Who am I meeting with? What kind of business stuff is going on? Do my kids need to be somewhere? Do I have deadlines with projects? Do I have, admin tasks with the home that need to happen? That annoying crap. Pay the taxes, pay the personal property. Ugh, I hate all that stuff. But that stuff requires energy. That stuff requires time. And you have to factor that into the equation of your day. Because you end up saying, I'm going to just go 0 to 100. I'm going to eat healthy. And you don't even define what that means. You're just like, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm not going to have any more sweets. I'm going to ban bananas. All this ridiculous shit. And never in that equation do you factor in your real life. So what does that mean? Let me explain. So I'm giving myself I guess it's a goal, if you will, or some parameters rather, that we're only doing DoorDash twice a week. And when that 2 times is over, it's over, right? So am I going to waste a DoorDash on a day where I could, I have nothing going on and I can easily make dinner? No. If I look at my calendar and I have back-to-back meetings, that's probably going to be a night where we might DoorDash. Or maybe we don't DoorDash at night, but I'm DoorDashing lunch, okay? You have to plan daily around your life because it is in those decisions, I cannot say this enough, it is in those decisions where the magic happens and you start to build momentum. Remember what we said at the beginning, how it's you're stressed and tired, but you're not building momentum. You're stressed and tired, but you're not accomplishing. This is where you start to feel accomplished. And so you ask yourself, what can I do today to feel successful? I'm going to cook at home. And you don't just say that, I have the meal down that I'm going to cook. I'm going to drink X number of ounces of water. I'm going to do the such and such workout on YouTube when I'm finished with work. Commit. And keep those commitments and those promises to yourself. Because again, when you do that, you also build confidence and trust back into yourself again. Because when you've been a long time, lifetime yo-yo dieter and emotional eater, you probably have zero trust and confidence in yourself and your ability to follow through with something. So this is how you start following through. I cannot sit there and say, okay, all this week I'm going to eat this for dinner and this for breakfast and this for lunch. No, it's a day-by-day process. And when you break it down like that, it makes things so much easier and so much more achievable. Because if you say to yourself, what can I do this week to feel successful? Sure, that's a great activity. You should do that. But it's not enough. It's not enough because you're going to get into the week and all of a sudden it's going to be Thursday because you're just going, trying to get stuff done. And those things that matter to you, remember what we said, weight loss being your number one goal, the number one thing you want in the world, what gets put last on the list? You do, because you put everybody else's needs above yours. And weight loss is one of your needs. So you put work, projects, clients, kids, activities, house, dishwasher breaking, dog, cat, vet, all of that stuff ends up getting put above your needs because in the moment, it feels more important. When my child is sick and throwing up, or my child is having a low blood sugar incident, in that moment, it is the most important thing. But if I build those contingency plans and I check in every single day with myself, I don't have to use that as an excuse as to why I'm not achieving. Okay? So you have your morning magic routine. It's your daily date with yourself. Think of it as a date. I like to do it first thing in the morning. It sets the tone for my day. I like to do it when no one else in the house is awake. I don't want anyone in here with me. I don't want to have to talk to anyone. And it's that beautiful part in the day where, first of all, no one in my house is awake. Not always the case. Second of all, no one is texting me yet. No one is slacking me. No one is expecting something from me on email or in a meeting. So it's like that beauty, that part in the day where you're just with yourself. Okay. And I also think of it as like a meditative process as well. The next thing that you really have to do is you have to set up a weekly review. All right. So we've done our daily check-ins. We've set ourselves up in that way. And then we get to the end of the week and we think about, okay, how am I feeling? What worked really well this week? What didn't work? What obstacles came out of nowhere and just threw me for a loop? And what can I do better next time? Because never waste a circumstance as an opportunity to learn, because there's always something that you can learn from that experience. So thinking about, how can you take something that's happened to you and say, okay, how can I do better next time? And that changes the conversation, right? Because you're so used to like beating yourself up, running through the inner fat bitch, doing all this stuff, where instead it's like, okay, how could I do this differently next time? And that stops the mentality of, I'm always starting and stopping, right? I start losing weight and then I stop. No, you're not starting and stopping. You're having a continuation. And your continuation isn't this straight line. It's this like squiggly curved line that just like goes all over the place. And that's okay because that is normal. So in this weekly review, that's what you do. It's a reflection process. It is critical in order for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And also what you do in that time is you review the current week and then you also start to think about next week, right? You start to set next week up. You start creating to-do list. You start creating grocery shopping list. You start creating, where can you alleviate some of the stress? If you know something's coming up, can you delegate something to someone else? You are in control of your life. And you better stop blaming every single person and circumstance around you on why you are not where you want to be. Because at the end of the day, At the end of the day, boo, it's on you. Okay? It's not on anybody else. It's not on your husband. It's not on your kids. It's not on your parents. It's not on your friends. It's not on your job. You are responsible for your decisions. Maybe you had some things happen to you that you didn't plan for. Join the club. But how are you going to change things going forward? You know, I saw, and I know this isn't like anything new, but I saw this like reel the other day, and it was like this little kid actually. It was really funny. And he said, he was talking about money and success, but he said, it's not your fault if you're born poor. That wasn't your choice. That wasn't your fault. But it is your fault if you die poor. And take that to mean what you want. But what it means is you didn't choose your circumstances that you were born into. You didn't choose to be in a certain generational cycle that you may be in. But you get to decide if it ends with you. You get to decide. So stop being a victim. Stop going to Party City and throwing your effing pity party. Okay? And let's change direction. Let's take some ownership. Let's take some accountability and just do what we need to do. Let's add a little self-discipline to our lives, okay? It's not going to hurt you to have a little self-discipline. And what hurts more? Staying in your current circumstance where you're miserable, or putting in the work to make different choices? None of it's easy. None of it's easy. So pick the one you'd rather do. And when you lower your expectations, I'm not telling you to be a loser and totally low. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is, obviously, holding yourself to certain expectations clearly isn't working, right? Because if it was, you wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this discussion. Lower your expectations in the sense of you can do small things and still feel accomplished. Some of you will be like, well, I'm not going to do a 5-minute workout. What the hell is that going to do? Well, I know what it will do. It sure as shit is going to do a lot more than you sitting your ass on the couch watching Netflix. Right? 5 minutes of moving your body is better than 5 minutes of laying around like a worm on the couch. Or you'll say, well, I already fucked up today. What difference is tonight going to make? It makes a big difference. Because it's not just about, in that example, it's not just about the calories and the fat content and the carbs. I don't give a shit about that stuff. What it does is something mental. If you have, in your words, effed it up all day, you've been just effing it up at the buffet, effing it up at breakfast, right? And you're like, well, what difference does it make with dinner? Because I've already done all this damage. Well, calorie-wise and all that, it may not really matter. But what does matter is the mental side of it, the emotional side of it, the ability for you to take back control, the ability for you to shut down the pity party, the ability for you to have some self-discipline. That's why it matters. And people put so much emphasis on weight loss in the numbers and the scale and the end goal. It's about the journey. It's about the process. It's about the many decisions that you make every single day. Think about it in an hour, how many decisions you're probably making. That's where the magic happens. And that mentality of one won't hurt. Okay, yeah, maybe one won't hurt, but that's not the point. The point is you falling into that mindset. One won't hurt. Now it's 2. Now it's 3. Next thing you know, guess what? It's next year, and your ass has put on 15 more pounds. So now you're in another 15-pound deficit. So you got to add that onto your goal that you had originally. So I can't stress enough, guys. It's really boils down to the relationship you have with yourself. And it's not about how bad do you want it. People say, well, how bad do you want it? Like, if you wanted it so bad, you'd be doing it. No shit, Sherlock. Thanks for the, epiphany moment. Thanks. That was really insightful of you. No shit. It's not about how bad do you want it. It's about how do you utilize the time that you're given. How do you focus on the process and not the goal? And how you spend your time on a daily basis is how it will yield the results. Just say that. So if your time is constantly spent zoning out, being frazzled, being busy, doing the F it DoorDash nights, well, you're going to get F it DoorDash results. That's just what you're going to get. Okay? It's about the process. So how are you going to set yourself up daily? Stop focusing on the mountain. I was working with my daughter the other night. She's now doing competitive cheer, and she's just starting, right? And we're working on tumbling, basic tumbling moves, handstands, cartwheels, that kind of thing. And I was helping coach her through some handstands. And she was so focused on just trying to get up on her hands. And I said, stop. Stop right now. Right now, I just want you to stand on the mat in the correct form, right? Do your lunge, put your hands above your head, keep your body tight, look up, keep your body long and tall, and just stand there. And we did that. I said, then the next move is I want you to just focus on your form and standing on one leg, leaning a little forward. Well, do you know what happened after about, 15 minutes? She did her first handstand for the first time because she wasn't focused on the outcome. She was focused on what she needed to do in that second. She was focused on the form. She was focused on, the process, not the end result. And when you start focusing on that, the end result will come. And it will come without a bunch of drama. It will come without a bunch of heartache. It will come, I'm not going to say it's going to come easy, but it almost will feel effortless when you look back on things. Because it just becomes part of your routine. It just becomes part of you, part of your life. So it's time to make shit happen. How much longer are you willing to waste? How much time have you wasted? We're pushing halfway through the year, not too soon from now. So let's make stuff happen, guys. It's all about the process. It's all about the daily check-ins. That is how you goal set. Okay. All right. Let's wrap this up. If you enjoyed this episode, please head over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast player of choice and leave a rating and review. That is beyond helpful. It allows other people to find the podcast, and it allows me to know what is working here for you as well. We can continue this conversation in two ways. Number one, in the free podcast Facebook discussion group. Number two, on my Instagram. Both of those are linked down below in the show notes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next time, stay irresistible. Bye, guys.